All right, so after our little thing yesterday, when I was demonstrating using LimbStick to completely change up an animation, let's share screen here. All righty. Yeah, so here, if I go like this and go like this is the result after I simulated the hair and put on the post-apocalyptic adventurer outfit. Let's start that again. Okay, and I just used the one camera just to save time. I still have another camera to render for this, but yeah, so I got that, and then if I put this in here, then I used that same scene, got rid of the character, and just used the camera and recorded this. And once I got to here, I stopped rendering and just added this one still image into Resolve at the end of this initial part and set it to the same length as this. Oops. Set it to the same length as this and spit it out in Deliver Page into its own clip so that I could just bring it into Fusion and blend it all together. And so where I am right now is I've got this background, and what I didn't like is the fact that there was no reflection. If we look here, see there's no reflection in there, and there really should be. And so I added a tracker, and so from here you can see that all I did with the tracker, I just set it to frame 100 and ran the tracker in reverse. Just use this right here and ran the tracker in reverse. All right. So so then this is this footage with a polygon that I drew. If I select that, you can see that I drew that and then gave it some blur and transform to line the footage up with the computer screen, and ended up right here. And now with the tracker, once we get in here, you use operations. We back down here again, and you want to set this to, this will start off with like none, I think, and you want to change that to match move. And then under settings, I can set the blend here. And so basically I'm using the tracker as my merge to set the opacity of that layer. And then I'm using color correction to, because you really should be seeing the opposite side of this. You should be seeing the, the, the this side that we're not seeing in here. And I didn't care about detail in there. I just wanted to have a reflection in there. And so I basically just muted the render out and then used opacity and played back and forth between. You can see that I did quite a bit of color correction in here to completely destroy the image, but just keep the animation, and the tracker keeps it nicely. I did have to, just because of the fact that it's changing perspective there, I did animate the transform, which was easy enough. You can see it's just a couple little keyframes, and then there's one at frame 0, which brings the polygon closer like that. And you can see I could just animate this, but I didn't need to. So I just kept it really simple. And now all I have to do is put this on top of here. And not sure why it turned out a different size. Oh, because of my export options. This turned out at 1080p and everything is recorded in 720p. So that's how that happened. And then from here, if I feel like it, I can do some further color grading or whatever. But if I just took it just like this, now we have a little reflection, and it just helps a lot. Um, it's fine, without it being an exact image. In in fact, this this could have zero details at all in the middle. You could just completely take away all of the contrast entirely, because the just it being there is doing the job. Okay, so now all I'm going to do is, because I think that's an all right. If you look at the light that this is casting on the ground, and if you actually look at it in DAZ Studio and look at the shader on this light right here, it is casting this color. So it did work out really good, even though I had no clue that I was going to be using this scene when I made the initial thing. And now the beautiful part about all of this is we don't have to use that background. All we have to do, because of the fact that this animation is saved with the hair simulation and the fact that the hair simulation survived all of this, we're in good shape. We have this saved, and now we can put it in any background we want and actually render it right in the background if we want to avoid having to, go through all this post work. But I'm glad that I ended up with the post work because it was just a lot of fun. So if anybody's wondering what I'm talking about, what it is this. I already have this saved, so I'm not going to worry about wrecking it. I'm going to go ahead and delete that, and I'm going to hide this hair. And since we have the character in here already, I am going to collapse all, select Rosie first, and we're going to right click on timeline, and we are going to clear animation, clear figure pose. And now I just select all of these, delete, and there we go. Oops, I don't want to do that. I'm going to undo that, and I'm going to go back to perspective view so we can see what's going on. There's our cameras, and that'll work with this animation as well. I'll show you what it looks like before I edit it. We come in here, blocks, and this is a Go Figure Yoga and Lotus. Select all this stuff and delete it. Get rid of that, and then I'm going to get rid of that track. We're not going to do anything with that. Now I just come in and select this, select Rosie, apply. Oh, I have to, what it is I have to turn this on. When you bake your animation to the timeline, it will automatically relinquish all control to the timeline and it'll shut off animate 2. And now we've got power back at animate 2. And this is what the original animation looks like. When I just go ahead and actually we just go to the timeline here. Let's just see what it looks like with the hair. Why not? Yeah, it's not. And this, yeah, it's just a yoga thing. And then the reason that that yoga anti-block was chopped up before I deleted what I had in there is because she gets done with her little meditation thing there, her lotus, and she stands right back up again. And since that part wasn't part of my animation, the camera doesn't follow that. So yeah, we went straight from that into, yeah, into this. And so from this point here, I removed the keyframes for the collars down on both arms, and at this frame here, I posed this arm to come in contact with a cube that I had flattened out into a floor down here. Not completely flat, but a thin cube. And yeah, so I got this pose, and then I copied that over to this side. And now LimbStick isn't going to control the collars. It stops its chain of control with this shoulder bone, which goes from here to the forearm, and then the forearm to the hand, and that's what LimbStick will control. And then so you're free to use the collar and animate that before you use LimbStick to help direct what LimbStick does. So here I made it so the beginning of LimbStick, the shoulders are raised and pushed forward to help signify the fact that now this weight is being supported by these extended arms. Okay, so that's why when we see it right here, it just kind of lifts like that. So I only gave iRay 200 iterations, just bumping that up to 600, and that jitteriness goes away. It adds a little to the render time, probably at least double. Yeah, now here we're getting that reflection in the computer, and we're not supposed to focus on that, but if it's not there, it totally looked like she was just pasted into the scene. So yeah, that fixed it. Make it a lot better. All right. Thank you very much, you guys, and you have a great day.